Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to do the long-promised kindergarten Thor's hammer. I am in my advanced modeling document for this. If you haven't created that, please create a advanced modeling document. Last name, first initial, advanced modeling. We're going to start doing some other things in here. So started a new part. When you start a new document, it automatically goes to here. Now, I'm going to show you the skills and some ideas. Your job is to do this on your own and not just copy me, because I'm going to show a bunch of different possibilities. Okay. So the Thor's hammer, at least in the movies and stuff, is kind of a square thing. So, but remember, it's kindergarten Thor, right? So he doesn't make anything straight or symmetrical, right? So we're going to have different ways of doing that. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and sketch in the front view. Get rid of planes that I don't want to see. And I'll make, I think, the square that I'm going to extrude. And of course, it's kindergarten Thor, so it's not going to be perfectly square, right? So I'm going to kind of go around the origin and maybe make some. And I'm not worried about size on this, by the way, because we're just working on kind of skills. So it's going to be sort of a trapezoidal sort of, he's in kindergarten. He did the best he could. Now, there's a couple things that we could do. We can finish this and we can extrude that and extrude that shape to a certain distance. You can just do this visually this time if you want. And then make it a draft. If you make it a draft, that's the same thing as tapering it. So, like right now it would go, well, it's only going 3 degrees. It's hard to see that, but it does taper a little bit, right? So that's one option. Let me delete that. I could show you another option. Another option would be instead of doing an extrude, we could do a sweep. So I got to know which planes are which planes. So I might want to go turn those back on and see where we are. So I want to sketch on the right plane this time. For me, again, you may have done this a little bit different. We're talking skills, not copying, right? So this time, what I could do is draw like a spline curve. You can't go crazy with your spline curves, because if it's too tight of curves, then it won't really work. So I'll go straight and then curve a little bit and then curve down a little bit maybe, and then come back somewhat straight. I've always forgotten, I think you have to hit enter or escape. That's what it is. You have to hit escape or right click and say escape spline. Oh, it didn't do that. Okay, even I sometimes have trouble with remembering how to do this stuff. So I always have trouble remembering how to make the end of my spline. There we go. Hitting the escape button worked this time. Might have to play around with it a little bit. All right, and then I think I won't make this quite so tight. Again, don't go too crazy with your spline curves. Okay, less is more. All right, so now that I've got my sketch in here, now I can sweep. Whoops, I hit extrude. I can sweep my profile along, click to activate sweep path along that path. So that's another thing too. I don't think that we can draft. Nope, we can't. I don't think we can draft a sweep. It will keep that same thing. I'm going to go ahead and stick with that. And now what we're going to have to do is we need to make a handle, right? Handle's got to go through at some bizarre angle. So a couple things that we could do. You could put a plane on this surface on some point, maybe that point right there. We could try that and see what happens. Again, you got to start playing around with things now. So instead of an offset plane, I'm going to do plane point and try that point right there. But then I have to make it parallel to something like that. And I think it will make that plane. Yeah, there we go. So that was one possibility of making a plane that I can use. Another possibility is that we could have gone to make a plane through a line and an angle, right? So we've got that line, we've got that, and we could do something, to this effect, or maybe down here a little bit. You've got to decide what you're going to do. Now, I want mine not only going straight, but I want it angled a little bit. So I'm going to I think I'll use that plane down there. You got to figure it, you got to start playing around, figuring out how to do this on your own. So I'm going to sketch on this plane, but I'm going to create kind of a weird little line. Now, remember, this plane goes on and on forever, and you can sketch on it even when you can't see it. So I'm going to make a line just at kind of a little bit of an angle. I didn't really mean to make a short line, although it doesn't really matter because I'm just using it to construct. Maybe that much of an angle. Okay. And now I'm going to do a line plane angle because I want it to be offset. So we can do a plane, again, line angle. There's a line. There's an existing plane, and angle that a little bit. Let's see how we're doing here. Maybe not quite that much. Actually, I think I want to go the other way. All right. Now, if it's down inside, we can create an offset plane from that. Let's just go ahead and do it. I'm not going to go very much, but again, I'm showing you guys skills, right? So let's create an offset plane that's offset from this plane. Why don't you like it? Okay, my entity is that plane. Okay, there we go. It just didn't, and I'll go up just a little bit. But it's just another option. Okay, if things are starting to get crowded, remember you can turn off the visibility of things. Okay, and now I am going to sketch on this plane. Okay. And remember, because it's at an angle, I can't click on the view cube, but I can say I want to view normal to sketch plane. Now I'm looking perpendicular to that plane. And I think what we'll do now is, the handle is kind of elliptical, so we'll draw an ellipse. And of course, it's going to be weird and it's going to be off center, and it's kindergarten Thor, so he's not doing that great of a job. And once we click one, that is one axis, and clicking one, the other one is the other axis. Okay. You can make yours round. You can make yours a polygon. You can make it square. You can do whatever you want as long as it's not straight. Okay, finish that, and then we can extrude that profile. And again, we're not worried about size, so you can just drag things around. And I think I'll draft it to make it go a couple degrees. You play around with that. Enter will show you a preview. Yeah, like that. Okay. Now, I think the handle looks a little big even for kindergarten Thor, and I don't like the place it is, but that's why you can go back into your timeline. I can double click on Sketch 4 to edit it, and then move this a little bit. Okay. And also I didn't like the size of it, so I can reduce the size of it a little bit because I never dimensioned that thing. So if you don't like the way that it looks, you can mess around with it. Okay, so have fun with this, play around with it. Again, we've got something that's not straight in any way. You can do sweeps, you can do drafts, you can do all sorts of stuff. The only thing that that I will be cranky about when you turn this in is if something is symmetrical or straight. All right. Enjoy, have fun. See you next time.